voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, out at High B in Eagan on Tuesday, October 29th. Stop by from 4 to 5 p.m. to meet PA and Vikings defensive back Cam Beasy, Cam Bynum, thanks to High B and Pepsi, plus a live Q&A event to follow. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. He's tend to be excited and delighted to be joined on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. The legendary Mark Rosen of Channel 4 Sports. Sports is your whole life just sports. He's in the so-called City of Angels, sunny California. He's there for a double dip. He'll watch the Timberwolves take on the LA Lakers tonight in the season opener for both teams. And then tomorrow night he will be at SoFi. It is called SoFi.
Not tomorrow night.
It's Thursday night tomorrow night, isn't it?
No, it's Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. You'll be at SoFi on Thursday night for a Rams versus Vikings. Let me guess. Craig Kilborn got you courtside seats for tonight's game, and he got you 50-yard line seats for the Vikings game.
No, I'm working the Vikings game, so I will be in the media section.
Well, I thought you were going.
I have tickets for.
Well, I thought you were going with your son.
I am.
Well,
I am.
Aren't you going to sit with him
by himself somewhere?
Oh, okay.
Sort of like you and Deuce. Sort of like you and Deuce on Sunday. You know what I mean?
We sat together.
Yeah, I know you did. In the suite.
Yeah, we sat in the suite. So, are you going to be sitting in the suite with your son? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm going to be up in the KFAN booth.
Or is he going to sit?
It's up to him. I don't know. Maybe I think there's enough room up there for him. So I don't. I think that's the plan.
Oh. All right.
But tonight we got tickets. So, but I'm not sitting courtside. But I'm sure they're good seats. It's quite the spectacle, as you can imagine. It's quite the sports week out here in La La Land. You don't really get the sense because it's such a you guys know it's such a sprawling enterprise out here. But you got the Lakers with the big story tonight with LeBron and Bronny. The Griffies are flying in for the game. Ken Griffey Jr. to be a part of this historic night. Then the Rams and the Vikings are kind of an afterthought on Thursday. And then, by the way, the Dodgers are hosting the Yankees Friday night at Dodger Stadium. So it's all happening this week in Los Angeles. And I think the Dodgers and the Yankees are, without question, the number one sports topic this week out here. I mean, not even close because of the rivalry and the interest level. I mean, I guess the cheapest ticket, secondary ticket going on anywhere in Dodger Stadium is going for $1,000, they were saying. And it might even be higher than that right now. But, it's Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, and, they got the galaxy of stars and the multi-billion-dollar enterprises that are the Dodgers and the Yankees. But tonight should be fun. I mean, I'm sure the stars will be out tonight. Nicholson doesn't go to the games anymore. But
are you and your son going to go to Dodgers Yankees? Then he may as well, as long as you're there.
No. We're just going to. No, I'm not going to spend that kind of money.
Why not?
No,
you only live once. You and your boy at a World Series game together. How much fun would that be?
It'd be a lot of fun, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to have a nice dinner. We have a lot to catch up on. I'm only going to see him, through Friday night, and that's it. So, not going to go into Dodger Stadium. I can always catch him on TV.
What if Kilborn finds you box seats?
We had dinner last night, and Craig is not. Yeah, yes, with Charlie, yes. And it's Charlie Swanson. So we had a wonderful time at great Italian restaurant, old school restaurant in LA here.
Were you at Spago?
No. Dan Tana's.
Dan Tana's. That's a legendary restaurant.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, everybody is, the guy from Entourage was there. I mean, then Craig is pointing out people. One guy who hired him for a movie, old school movie, he was sitting in the booth next to us, and he kind of jamming, everybody in there. And then you just, it was fun. It was just a fun night. And then tonight, so we got the Laker game tonight, and it'll be something. And when Bronny plays, they're anticipating maybe sometime in the second quarter. In the flow of, J.J. Redick is now the head coach of the Lakers, and they don't want to force feed it, but it's going to be something the first time those two are on the court together. And I'm more, of course, anxious to see how the Wolves respond with their new look lineup. And it's one of, my God, it's one of 82, and you look at the schedule and realize Timberwolves' last regular season game is April 13th. So we got a ways to go.
Yeah.
But, winning 56 games last year, I think it was 56, and that might be a little lofty this year. I think the Wolves might, it's going to take, I think there's an adjustment period. That's my
You think so?
anticipation. I think it might be without Cat here, and now Randall's here, and DiVincenzo, and some new players. It might take a little bit of time to kind of get everybody rolling, but, it's easier. We don't know. That's going to be the fun part to watch. They're still going to be a top echelon team. The Lakers are, probably not going to be, but, you just don't know. This is LeBron's 22nd season. My God, I think he's tying Vince Carter for the longest run in NBA history tonight when he takes the court. So, and
he's still apparently he's still got some skills. He's not he's not just resting on his laurels at this point. He can still play a little bit.
He can play. I think you can watch him. He kind of paces himself. I mean, I think tonight his adrenaline is going to be pretty much almost like an all-time high. I mean, the idea that he's going to be able to share the court with his son, which has never happened in the NBA, has got to be beyond exhilarating for him. So, whether or not people have their own opinion about Bronny, I mean, most people feel that he's probably not quite ready for this level yet with any consistency. Obviously, he's got some talent, but I think they got to be very judicious not to expose him too much to make it look like, well, he's only out here because of LeBron, and that's sort of the feeling. And he's got to prove himself on his own merits.
Do you believe that he's there only because his father said, "I want you to draft my son," or do you think they actually think the kid's got a chance to have a quality career in the NBA?
Well, I think it's both. I think that there's no doubt the Lakers took him because LeBron, but I think he's got a chance to be a good player. But that's you look at the young players that the Wolves. I mean, look at my buddy Luka Garza. You look at Miller. You look at some guys on the Wolves team, Josh Minot, that are really probably got more skill than Bronny right now. But it takes 3-4 years sometimes to kind of find yourself in this league, where you're all of a sudden you're thrown into where these guys are grown men you're playing against, and you're not playing in the G League anymore, or whatever it might be, or college level. So yeah, I think under any circumstances, Bronny's going to have a learning curve that's going to be severe. But I'm sure his dad's going to try to help take some of the pressure off of him. But I don't look for him to get a lot of minutes tonight.
Where are you staying? Are you at Waldorf Astoria in Beverly Hills?
No, I am not. I'm over in Los Feliz, which is kind of a nice area. I mean, everything, like I said, is so spread out. I mean, the arena tonight used to be the Staples Center, is on Crypto.com. The Vikings are playing at, which I have not been to, SoFi, which is way in the other side. I mean, a million miles away. And then Dodger Stadium. I've heard all these horror stories. I've only been there once. Like when you go to Dodger Stadium, if you're gonna stay there for all 9 innings, you better pack a lunch because it's gonna take you 2 hours to get out of there. So
it's
so spread out.
Somebody texted me. They say they were in LA and they spotted you at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Is that where you're staying?
No, I was not there. I was here. I had lunch there with Kilborn in July, but I was not there. I've not been there. I only got here yesterday, and I've not been there. No, nor do I plan on going there.
The Beverly Hills Hotel only goes for $12.45 a night. That's all. I just wondered if that's
where you're right. Well, I'm not staying there. So
oh wait, that's right.
Good reason
you
for
decided that. You decided to go to the more economical Hotel Bel Air, which is only $1,165 a night.
Oh my! Is that right?
That's all it is $1,165 to stay at. I mean, Beverly Hills Hotel or Hotel Bel Air. You pick your poison.
Well, I'm not that much. I want a comfortable bed. If the TV's got plenty of choices and the shower works fine, then that's all I care about.
You just want him.
I really do.
You just want him.
I'm by myself, so I don't care.
You just want him to leave the light on for you.
Just leave the light on for me. But it's a nice neighborhood. This area of LA is very nice. I enjoy it.
Well, from what I understand,
more neighborhoodish.
From what I understand, you consider roughing it Holiday Inn with the window open. It's a pretty good line.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I thought that's a pretty good line.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, it's a crazy week. It just worked out that well. More importantly, I get to see my son and spend a lot of time with him. But he's working, but taking off Thursday and Friday, so I get to spend some quality time with him. And you know what that's like. He's coming to town. It's great to see him this weekend.
It's the greatest
thing. Can't beat it. That's what you live for. I mean, it's I don't get. your kids grow up fast, and Brandon's going to find that out. All of a sudden, they're out.
He's finding it out right now.
And it goes in a flash, and so
right.
I want to
think about it. Ingrid
take in all these moments.
Ingrid was
what's that?
Ingrid was doing her cheerleading at pregame at the Vikings.
I know. I heard.
Within a blink of the eye, she'll be on the Vikings cheerleading squad, just like that. That's how quickly things happen. That's how quickly things happen. We haven't had an opportunity to talk to you since the Vikings registered their first loss of the season. You were there. I was there. The soon-to-be big-game world champion Minnesota Vikings fall 31-29 to the Motor City Kitties. Your thoughts?
Well, I thought after the Vikings took that 10-0 lead, I mean, Jared Goff looked. It reminded me really of a couple of years ago where they really spotted something, and I think the Vikings desperately missed Blake Cashman on Sunday. I mean, you could tell his absence was felt in the middle of that field. It's not to suggest the Lions wouldn't have had success, but they certainly tore apart with it. The combination with Montgomery and Gibbs. They're a dynamic duo, and the wide receivers, and they put on a clinic for quite a while. And I thought the game potentially could be a blowout. And then the Vikings got the big turnover, and they had an opportunity. They took the lead, and all of a sudden we got ourselves a game. And so I mean, it was well played. I think it's like one of those games where you go, well, we kind of know where the Vikings stand right now. I don't think they felt like overwhelmed like the Dallas Cowboys did playing Detroit. And lesson learned. We'll see how Brian Flores, responds on Thursday night against a lesser offensive machine with the Rams, even though they got some talent, but they're not the Lions right now. So no, I thought it was, it was a good kind of like that sixth game of this. It was a good opportunity for the Vikings to kind of gauge where they are. As Tana, I was listening, just talked about. I mean, you got the Rams here this week, and then you got a string of games where the Vikings honestly should be 9-1.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves now.
No, I don't care. I mean, I will be.
Oh, okay.
I will. And barring any major injuries. I mean, more. But I mean, you got Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Tennessee. As soon as you start overlooking, as soon as you start overlooking teams, that's when you don't. I'm just glad you're not in that locker room because you don't want to start overlooking these teams just because we think they're lesser teams. I'm taking them one at a time. I'm just saying that the Vikings still have, and they got work to do. I think I'm sure Kevin O'Connell gets full attention of the team, and I think it's good that it's a short week.
Oh, you think
I'm sure they're anxious
that's a
to
bonus?
Play tomorrow and get out here.
You think that's good for them?
I do.
Okay.
No, I really do.
Right.
I think that's what some of the players even said after the game is that, man, we're looking forward to getting this, out of our system and playing again on Thursday. Right. Then they got a mini bye week. But I thought it was important that Aaron Jones, started and finished the game without any, you guys were talking about that. Absolutely. I think that the addition of TJ Hawkinson, hopefully this week, it certainly sounds like he's going to play. He's going to be a big addition to this football team. They have really missed the skill set that T.J. Hawkinson brings to this team, and I think it's going to give them another weapon that they just haven't had. I mean, he's one of the top tier tight ends, as we know, pass catching tight ends in the NFL, and that's going to should even open up things a little bit more for Jefferson and Addison.
Taking Twitter seriously can be dangerous. That's why I don't partake. But there are a lot of rumors on Twitter that the Vikings are seriously going to pursue Matthew Stafford in a trade.
What?
Florio brought it up the other day with PA, I think, or at least he was. I don't know if it was while he was with PA, but I think maybe it was in his. Well,
I've heard it.
One of his.
I've heard the rumors.
Yeah. Do you think there's any truth to the rumors? And let's say there is truth. I guess that would mean they just don't think the Red Rifle Sam Darnold's the guy for the job. I would guess if it's true, right?
It's not like it's impossible because obviously KOC and Stafford know each other very, very well, and he probably would know his playbook pretty well. But sliding him in at this point and making that decision to go that route would be jarring. I think
they've only got they have 3 touchdowns in their last 30 quarters. I
understand that. I understand that.
The offense is not producing like it should.
Yeah. Look, nothing that Kwesi does would surprise me. I think there's been a lot more conversation about, the Dexter Lawrences of the world and trying to go get a defensive monster in the middle of that defensive line. that they could use some help in, and what it would cost them, because the Vikings have a lot of cap space next year. I don't know, $75 million or something. Plus draft picks may not be as valuable the way they're going right now. So you could let go of a number 1 pick and maybe even a number 2 pick the following year or something to go get someone when these teams aren't going anywhere. I mean, obviously the teams are going to be selling pretty quickly here after next week. I mean, I heard, I was talking here, one last point. I mean, I was listening to Belichick actually on the airplane, flying out here, and you said something about, you're right, comment about not getting ahead of ourselves, 100%. But Belichick's point was, I never looked at things really seriously. You want to put yourself in a position to contend, but until Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, that's when you start thinking about where this team is, where the playoffs potentially could end up being, and you get those 1, 2, 3, 4. You still got 5, 6 games left.
Yeah.
I mean, after Thanksgiving. So, point well taken by the master Bill Belichick about understanding how much football is left. But the Stafford thing would be a shock, I think, no matter what they think of Sam Darnold right now, to get him out of L.A. and bring him into Minnesota and throw him in the lineup. I mean, you start Nick Mullins for a game. Well, I mean, there's no more bye weeks. You just got to go play. So I don't know at what expense. I know he's been banged up a lot, but the guy can still sling it. But I'd be surprised. But you know what? Nothing surprises me what Tim Connolly's done or Kwesi's done. And I think I would not be surprised at all if they make a move, because I think they know they're in a position. They're one of the top 5 teams, arguably, certainly in the NFC, if not the NFL. And they want to strike when the iron's hot. And whatever they feel their need is, they're going to go try to get it.
Well, I want to talk about the Beeflo again, and the Vikings and the Lions, because I'm fascinated with the Lions. I'm actually thinking of starting I'm thinking of starting to do a Saturday or a Sunday morning Lions show. Much
you are. Oh, yeah. Is there room for that?
Much like
Packer Preview.
Much like Packer Preview, and I've been trying to think of some names for the show. Hold on.
Larry Mondello guy, I'm sure will help.
It wasn't Larry Mondello guy. It was Sweeney's guy, and he had a great, and now I can't find it. Anyway, Beeflo is 0-3 against Ben Johnson in the Detroit Lions. Here's what it is. Saturday morning, Lions living room. No, that's not it. That's not the one I was looking for, but it could be Lions living room.
Too good.
No, where did it go? Oh, Lowdown in Motown. Your lion eyes, civil roar, or the main event, MANE. These all have potential.
Or the not so cowardly Lions show.
Do you think Ben Johnson's got Beeflo's number?
Well, he has. I mean, he certainly has. I mean, I think that I'm not sure other teams can duplicate what he did. But they have the talent. I mean, they have the receiver, the running backs that are great receivers. The Vikings came within an eyelash a couple times, and certainly put them on the ground a couple times. But it kind of reminded me a little bit of a couple of years ago when the Vikings defense got exposed over the middle of the field, and they're talented. I mean, Detroit is a cream of the crop for a reason, and a lot of it has to do with that offensive line giving Goff enough time to not to worry about the blitz packages that Beeflo was trying to throw at them and a few other things they were doing. But right now, numbers speak for themselves. He's until they play again in January, early January, last game of the season, January 4th or 5th. That's the standard bearer. I mean, Ben Johnson's had the upper hand, no doubt about it.
2 nights ago, the Minnesota Lynx lost in the fifth and deciding game of the WNBA Finals to the New York Liberty. Cheryl Reeve was very, very bitter about the result of the game, and she feels like they got jobbed by the officials. And she said, I know people are going to say, oh, quit your wine, but she goes, bring it. She goes, she thinks that it was just awful officiating at the end of the game. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, she's right. I mean, here's the point. The bigger point that she was making was instead of the officials on the court in a very hostile environment, there was no way in hell they were going to overturn that call where Breanna Stewart traveled and she wasn't fouled. Where a third party in New York somewhere should be making that decision. That was her point. Have someone else do it. Not the officials on the court. Take them out of it. Take them out of the equation. Let someone in New York who's looking at it objectively make that call. I think that was really Cheryl's point, and that needs to change. But having said that, yeah, there were the FISA Collier didn't go to the line. I mean, there was no question that the scales were tipped in favor. But again, the Lynx also missed a lot of open looks.
Yep.
They just did. They were not shooting the ball well, and they had some good opportunities to put that game away. And so I'm not laying it all on the officials, but Cheryl had more than a valid point. If you look at the discrepancy in the free throw shooting, and especially that last call, which really won the game, because Minnesota would have won the game in regulation.
Oh, you think so?
Without that call.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there were 5 seconds left, and they were up by 2.
Right.
So if that doesn't get called, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah.
Traveling, obviously anything could happen, but she took like 4 steps, and then there was really nothing but ball. But again, I think the bigger issue is why the league insists on having the officials look at it. They were not going to reverse that call in New York, and the whole thing with the commissioner wearing the New York skyline basically on her dress when she came back to the it fed the conspiracy theorists, and it's too bad. But like I said, watching the game, the Lynx had plenty of opportunities to try to put that game away.
Right, well, and not
very, very physical game.
Right, well, and not just that. The gal for the Liberty that hit the winning bucket the night before the game before. She was like 1 for 23.
Oh my God!
And then their other star player was it Brianna Stewart. She did not shoot very well either. So I would also say, because you're right, because even with all of that, you can still say, but they still blew the call. Because that was one of the things Reeve was saying. She was going, yeah, I guess you can say, but if something else, if your team would have done something else or this or that, but that still doesn't change the fact that play at the very end, that non-call. Or that call was instrumental in deciding the game. But you should beat a team when their best players don't basically score at all. So there's a lot of blame to be passed around, no question.
Yeah, a lot of angst, and we'll see. I know they're going to change it to 4 to 7 next year. It was a really riveting series, no doubt about it. WNBA. It's just too bad it ended in that controversial fashion. Even the national people kind of weighing in on it. It almost took the shine away a little bit from the Liberty winning their first championship. Was the controversial end, and then the idea that, like I said, I think that needs to change. They need to have someone. The NHL looks at goals. They got to take it out of the hands of the officials on the court. They should not be making that decision. Someone else should be in the replay center. But maybe they'll fix that next year.
Lastly, for you, before we let you go, and thanks for the extended time, we appreciate that.
Sure.
Gophers, after a bye week and a couple of big wins against the West Coast teams, take on Maryland. What are your thoughts on this Golden Gopher? Again, we documented all the struggles they had, where they had Iowa on the ropes, had a bad second half, should have beat Michigan, looked like that game was good. And so, they've had some really good moments. It sure, put it this way, it's gone a lot better since that second half against Iowa, right?
Yeah, just listening to PJ talk about Maryland, of course, during the commercial break. It's one of those teams that this game could go either way. Maryland, did they beat USC, I think, last week? They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're not in Indiana's class. They're not in Ohio State. Indiana's have the surprise team of the Big Ten or maybe the nation this year. But Minnesota should be able, playing at home. I think they're slight favorites in this game. They've got to do the things that are necessary to win this game. They have an opportunity now to kind of salvage some things, and as they come down the home stretch of their season, still got a number of games left. But this is very, very much a winnable game, and they need to beat the Marylands of the world if you want to be taken seriously as moving on the next step after a couple really tough losses, in particular. The Iowa second half, and obviously going back into the North Carolina game and what happened in Michigan the first half. So, these are the games they have to again kind of exert their will, and they've won 2 in a row, and this is a team that they certainly can and should beat at home.
We'll be looking for you courtside, you and your son tonight at the Fabulous Forum. We'll be looking. I think we'll see you courtside. That'd be my guess. Kilborn will come through in the clutch.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Very good. All right, thanks. And when are you coming back? You'll be back next week for your regular scheduled times, or are you going back?
Well, No. I'm coming back Saturday.
Okay.
I'm back Saturday, and I got my Fox 9 show on Sunday morning.
Oh, okay.
But I'll call in either tomorrow and Thursday for Spread Spring, of course.
I appreciate that. All right, Rosie, thanks. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right, my pleasure, guys.
You see it. That's the legendary Mark Rosen. The legendary one, as we like to call him. We'll take a short break. We're going to straddle the 45, Tennessee. Let's give away that last pair of tickets. Flop, Sweat, and Tears tomorrow at the Chart House in Lakeville. Larry Mondello guy will MC. Yours truly and Meat Sauce will perform. It should be a terrific time. If you don't win tickets now as the 11th caller at 1-800-320-5326, you can get tickets, charthouselive.com. And with the purchase of tickets to Flop, Sweat, and Tears, you'll also have your choice of any of the Mick Sterling tribute shows. They had a Springsteen one the other night. They're highly popular. Just look for Harmonica Guy when you get to the Chart House tomorrow and tell them which show you want to see. We'll make sure to get you tickets for it. So 11th caller, call right now and you'll be a winner. We'll be right back after this right here on The Fan.
Mark Rosen's appearance on the Grum last segment was brought to you by your Greater Twin City Honda dealers. Head over to KFAN.com, make the keyword contest to enter for a chance to win a Papa Murphy's family meal deal, including family-sized pepperoni pizza, cookie dough, and classic cheesy bread. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
14 past. I'm the common man. He is Tennessee. I was just going to say something. I forgot what it was. Stations all along the Common Man Radio Network will be straddling the 45 this break. We'll be straddling the 45 in the last part of in this last half hour of the Common Man program. We love List Radio, Tennessee. This is an interesting list. Now, I understand the National Football League season has not come to an end. It's not a 7-game season, and some teams have only played 6, but it's not a 7-game season. It's a 17-game season. But Tennessee, if the playoffs were to start today, do you know who's in the NFC? You want that list? It starts out with the number 1 seed. The Motor City Kitties would be your number 1 city. Number 2 would be the Washington Commanders would be the number 2 seed. The 3 seed would be the Seattle Seahawks. The number 4 seed would be the Atlanta Falcons, despite that devastating loss this past Sunday to, who did they lose to again? Seattle. Then at the 5th seed would be the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. The 6th and 7th seeds would be the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Sure. It would be the first time. Now, again, I know it's not, but just it's interesting. It's fun to look at that list, and it would be 4 NFC teams, NFC North teams, in the playoffs. And I think we talked about this. There was a story that came out last week, maybe it was early in this week, that it's never happened before in the NFL that 4 teams in the same division has qualified. And we're a long way from there. But what I like most about this list, I just love there's no Philadelphia, no Dallas, no San Francisco. That would be so refreshing.
No New Orleans.
No New Orleans. I'm so tired of those, especially the San Francisco's the Dallases is, and the Philadelphia's is. I'm so tired of those teams. This would be so much fun to have a whole different group of teams that aren't your usual.
And what's amazing is like a team like Tampa Bay, that up until last night looked like an NFC contender, like one of the best teams in the conference, and obviously 2 awful injuries for them last night with their top 2 wide receivers going down. And they're not even on that list to be in the playoffs right now. Yes,
exactly. And
so things can change quickly.
Oh, they could. Yeah, well, especially when the Bucks beat the Kitties in week, was that 2-3, whatever it was. That wasn't just like, well, they got kind of lucky. They got had a couple of bounces go their way. They thoroughly beat Detroit. Thoroughly. It was a convincing win. And
the other part about this too is right now the Vikings are tied for the best record in the NFC. Yet would be the 5th seed in the NFC. So if that were to that'll change. That's not going to keep going, but it would be one of those interesting discussions come week 17 if that were the case. If the second best team in the conference gets the 5th seed, and then everyone's like, well, that's not fair.
Right, exactly. Well, that is an argument that's been out there, and I can make one for either side that we've seen it, Tenby. We've seen 7 and 9 teams make postseason play, right?
And then be the higher seed over like an 11 and
yes, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But that's typically kind of a rare occurrence, isn't it? But a lot of times you will.
Well, I like having the importance of the divisions and the rivalries, and those are important games.
Yes,
you got to win those games.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's exactly right. Wild play
tonight. 3 hours.
3 hours from now, you'll hear that game on this radio station, correct?
Yes.
What time does our coverage begin?
The game's at 5:30. Okay. I'm assuming typically it's a 15-minute pregame, but because that's so early and cutting into Barrero's time, I'm wondering if we're just going to go right to 5:30.
2-hour show?
2.5.
A 2.5-hour show? That doesn't seem right. Barely time for a guy to clear his throat. We're playing. I'm sorry, you got to remind me.
Florida. The Panthers.
Defending National Hockey League champions?
Yeah.
Do they appear to be, are they picking up where they left off? Are they a contender again? What are your thoughts on Florida? By the way, I've already finished my lunch. That's not why I'm asking you about the Wild.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to act like I've watched Florida Panther hockey this year, but they are, right now, they have the most points in the Atlantic Division at 4-2-1, and they've been doing it basically without their 2 best forwards. Matthew Tkachuk has missed 5 games, though he's supposed to come back tonight. And then Alexander Barkov, I think, got hurt in the 2nd game, and he is out tonight. But he's kind of like he's their Joel Eriksson-Ek, just a two-way center who's elite defensively but can also add offensively. So they've had some pretty major guys missing through the first 7 games, yet record-wise, they're still doing fine. Like I said, 4-2-1. But now for the Wild, we still have Jared Spurgeon out with a lower body injury.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you about.
Ryan Hartman practiced yesterday, but he is out for tonight. And then the other storyline is Philip Gustafsson, who's been absolutely brilliant in his 4 games this season. He gets to start net tonight. So Marc-Andre Fleury. He's supposed to play against Tampa Bay.
Okay. And then what about Lundqvist? No. Who?
Volstead?
Volstead.
Well, he's been sent down to Iowa just because he was the one guy who could clear waivers, and it sounds like the Iowa Wild have not gotten off to a great start, including Volstead in the net. He's been giving up some goals.
Okay. So I know that there were go ahead.
I was going to say the Wild have yet to lose in regulation, but 2 of those games are against Columbus.
Right.
So we'll definitely get a step up tonight on the road in Florida. It seems like historically, Florida has not been a place they've played well at.
I know that we seem to be an embarrassment of riches in goaltender, but you say what's the kid's name again?
Jesper Volstead.
Volstead he's not played that well down in Iowa, or it really hasn't been his fault?
I don't know. Okay. I haven't been watching Iowa Wild games, so no.
But I thought we might have a goaltender controversy, but apparently not. We're all settled in. It's going to be Gustafsson most of the time.
Well, we didn't see Gustafsson playing like this.
Yeah, well, that's it. We didn't.
No.
But he's starting to do the things that he used to do that made himself good. So, there we go. I know there was another Wild question I wanted to ask you. Was it Kaprizov related? I forget. I'm drawing a blank. I know I had a question for you, and it's.
I was trying to find Volstead's goalie stats.
Yeah. Oh, I like this.
There we go. Volstead, 0-2, 7.20 goals against average, .821 save percentage. He's given up 12 goals in 2 games. Well, but I have not seen the game, so I don't. If you're giving up 12 goals, you're not having good goaltending. But I haven't been able to watch to determine whether this is on him or the team in front of him. Probably both.
Is there the possibility the kid thought he was going to be with the big club all year, that he was
disappointed?
And he's disappointed, and it's hard for him to shake it. I know when you first came on air, you thought you were going to get the Chad Barrero show, and that didn't work. Then you thought you were going to get Paul Allen, and then you ended up stuck with me, and I think there was certainly your performance early on left a lot to be desired.
Early on or the whole time?
Well, maybe the whole time.
There's been 19 straight years of that performance.
I guess it probably has been. Let's take a final break. When we come back, I've got more controversial Vikings news. Final segment of the Grum next. Common Man program here on the Fan.
Get ready to laugh until you cry. Nick Swartzen, the hilarious star of Reno 911 and Grandma's Boy, is bringing his side-splitting stand-up to the State Theater on January 10th. Don't miss your chance to hear his outrageous stories and unforgettable jokes live. Tickets are on sale now. Get the full details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Keyword calendar. It's common and tend to be tap dance into the top of the hour. It's you could probably tell if you've listened today, unprepared, uninformed, and unapologetic. That's what we do. Noon to 3, or on a Tuesday during the college football and college basketball seasons, we do a 2-hour truncated version of the Common Man program. Polished, poised, and professional big ticket JG. They follow this. They'll be on the air until 5:30. And then it's Wild Hockey. They take on. Don't tell me, because you've already told me 3 times. Florida.
Yeah.
Defending National Hockey League champions. Tell me, what's the biggest price you've paid for a ticket to a sporting event or a concert? What's the most money you've ever paid?
Adele in Las Vegas.
And how much was that?
It was in the $700 range.
$700 range.
Yeah.
And that was per ticket?
Yes.
So per ticket. For me, and I did it at a live auction for the retreat. I think I've told you the retreat is it's an alcohol rehab center that is it's kind of based on the 12 steps. And they host a golf tournament every year out at Rush Creek. And at the dinner one time, when McCartney was at Target Field, I think I ended up bidding, and the money went to the retreat, so it went to a very good cause. They pay for scholarships for people that can't afford a treatment center. I think I paid like $1,250. That's about what you'd have to pay. That would be the cheapest seat you could get on StubHub for World Series Game 1, New York at Los Angeles. Here's what it says. On StubHub, the cheapest ticket is $1,211 a piece to attend Game 1. According to the Associated Press, StubHub confirmed the 2024 World Series has outpaced the 2023 installment and could be 4 times higher than the pace of the 2022 World Series. In addition, the ticket prices for games 3 through 5, which takes place at Yankee Stadium, New York, ticket prices for game 3 through 5, which takes place at Yankee Stadium, are 40% higher than any of the 4 games in Los Angeles. Vivid Seats currently has the cheapest ticket listed at $1,191 for Game 1. However, Vivid Seats told the AP the average ticket price for the 2024 World Series is $1,368. If you're a lifelong Dodgers fan, and, Dodgers-Yankees is, again, let's face it, Tennessee, as much as I don't think you and I are big fans of the East Coast, West Coast clubs. A lot of envy and jealousy, I admit it. If you're on either coast, it's a marquee matchup.
Yeah.
The two, we talked about it. I don't know how many times they've met. Now this is the 13th or 14th time the two teams have met in the Fall Classic, and it's been a while. But God, it's a lot of money to pay for a ticket to a game. I don't know if I could dig down that deep, but that's what they're getting for those games. Yeah, that's the most I ever paid. And that was just, if it wouldn't have been for, like, if it would have just been paying Ticketmaster and McCartney, I wouldn't have gone for that much money. Not a chance. But it's like, okay, somebody donated them, and the money that I pay is going to go to help somebody put a cork in their bottle,
Sure.
I was all in. But that's a lot of loot to spend. But that's the going price. For a ticket, I'd rather just watch on TV.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. That's
Well, you know they're expensive, and Rosen doesn't even want to. They're out of his range.
well,
I don't want to pay for those.
Yeah. Well, let's just say I think he could afford it, but that's not really. It's really none of my business. I saw a Oh, we're out of time. What a bad break for us. I was going to really get into a controversial conversation about the Vikings, but
that's interesting.
That'll have to wait. I know people want to hear the controversial material, but we'll have to wait until tomorrow. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today. We'll be back tomorrow at Rock Talk at 1:30, Brian Oak. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 noon. Stick around, though. Big Ticket and JG, they're next, right here on The Fan.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Well done, young man.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.